Hello and welcome everybody. Today I am going to go over every single green card or card that has green in the mana cost of Avatar: The Last Airbender. The rating scale for this video is going to be 0 to 5. There can be half points as well. And 5 is like, you play this card, you win the game. And 0 is like, I'd rather play a basic land over this. I mean, also 0.5 is also probably in the, like, I'd most likely want to play a basic land over this card. Thank you, Wizards, for making me an ambassador, which made it a lot easier to do this content. And let's get started. So the first card we have here is Allies at Last. It's 2 green for an instant, an affinity for allies. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each ally you control. And then up to 2 target creatures you control each deal damage equal to their power to target creature an opponent controls. This card seems like fantastic removal. It's a bite, but you get to choose 2 creatures. So it will basically kill anything at instant speed. Green, you could very easily have 1 or 2 allies and make this even cheaper. So I would go with a 3.5 for this card. So that's like very good, and I might want to play green because of this card. Other than all the other reasons to play green, of course. Avatar Destiny. 2 green, enchantment aura. Enchant creature you control. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each creature card in your graveyard, and it's an avatar in addition to its other types. When an enchanted creature dies, mill cards equal to its power. Return this card to its owner's hand, and up to 1 creature card milled its way to the battlefield under your control. This card seems really good. It's an aura, so that is really fragile, but the only way it's fragile is if they kill the creature you enchant this on in response. As soon as this aura, or I guess they exile the creature. Otherwise, this aura is like really good. One thing to keep in mind is there is airbending, which would exile the creature and the aura would die. But if the creature dies any other way, like this, it doesn't even need to give it pluses. It's just like when it dies, mill 3, put a creature from among them onto the battlefield, and then you get the aura back. So I'm still going to say a 3.5. There are ways to get blown out by playing this card, but I think the upside is just so high. Badger Mole. 4 and a green for a 4/4. When this creature enters, Earthbend 2. The Earthbending is target land you control becomes a 0/0 creature with haste that's still a land. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on it. When it dies or is exiled, return it to the battlefield tapped. And then creatures you control with +1/+1 counters on them have trample. I like this card a lot. It's like a big beater. It's 5 mana for 6 power, but also has more upside if you put counters on it or other things, then they get trample. So I'd probably give this card a 3. Badger Mole Cub. 2 mana 2/2. When this creature enters, Earthbend 1. Whenever you tap a creature for mana, add an additional green. This card is seeing a lot of talk for playing in Constructed. Standard, Modern, you name it. In Limited, there's less to take advantage of from getting that extra mana, but it's still a 2 mana. You get a 2/2 and a 1/1, and that 1/1 now taps for an additional mana. I think this card's a 4, which is like bomb level. Alright, the Boulder, Ready to Rumble. 3 and a green for a 4/4. Whenever the Boulder attacks, Earthbend X, where X is the number of creatures you control with power 4 or greater. Well, at the very least, it attacks and Earthbends 1. A 4 mana 4/4 is pretty good. I think it's not quite as strong as some of the other cards, so I'm going to go ahead and give it a 2.5. Boomy, King of 3 Trials. 5 and a green for a 4/4. When Boomy enters, choose up to X, where X is the number of lesson cards in your graveyard. Put 3 +1/+1 counters on Boomy. Target player scries 3. and Earthbend 3. Now, I believe if you have more than 3 lessons, you do not get to choose the same mode more than once. So that does put a little bit of a cap on it. This card needs enough lessons. If you have no lessons in your graveyard, then you don't get to choose any, and a 6-mana 4/4 is pretty bad. So I think you really need to have a lot of lessons to make this work. So I'd probably give Boomy a 2.
And what would you say? Hello, everyone.
Oh, yes,
Adam,
my dad.
Dana's dad, off to the side here. I mean, at what number of lessons in your graveyard would you say this is good?
One of in your deck?
Well, first graveyard. Then we can kind of go deck, I guess.
Oh, I think it's good with just 1.
Yeah, I agree it's good with 1. I think, though, you need to reliably get 1. So how much would you think that's probably in your deck?
7, 6 or 7.
To reliably get 1?
Yeah, 6 or 7.
That seems reasonable. Oh, my God. Kids these days.
I'm not well, I guess I'm kind of a kid.
All right, so final answer is 2, though,
yeah.
on its own? Okay.
Cycle of Renewal. Speaking of lessons, here's a lesson. 2 and a green, instant, sacrifice a land. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, put them onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. I wonder what card this reminds me of. That card was pretty good. I think this being a lesson does help it a lot. I just think sometimes decks are not going to want to ramp as much. I think you need to have good things to ramp into. I think it can always be a 2.5. Because it will fix your mana at least. But I don't think it's, like, amazing. Diligent Zookeeper. 3 and a green for a 4/4. Each non-human creature you control gets +1/+1 for each of its creature types, to a maximum of 10. Huh. That's interesting. Well, it's really funny with shapeshifters.
Well, yeah, that's why there's the maximum of 10.
I know. Still funny. I guess...
Otherwise, it'd be a question of how many creature types are there in Magic? Oh, boy.
I think the answer is enough, and you take a hit from that creature and you die.
That's probably true. Oh, no, but each non-human, though, it doesn't work on shapeshifters.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't. I wonder what kind of creature has 10 non-human
Maybe there's some combination of cards that can give something like shapeshifting, but then takes away it being a human.
Maybe.
Or something. I don't know what that would be, but...
I think you're likely to have some number of non-human creatures in your deck, if not, like, a lot of non-human creatures in your deck. So, I think if you, like, don't have very many humans, I think this card is, like, really good. 4-mana 4/4 at base is, like, decent. You'll likely be pumping something by at least 1, maybe 2. Actually, probably at least 2. Most creatures have 2 creature types. So, I'd probably give this card a 3. Yeah. The Earth King. 3 and a green for a 2/2. When the Earth King enters, create a 4/4 green bear creature token. This card seems already good. Whenever one or more creatures you control with power 4 or greater attack, search your library for up to that many basic land cards. Put them onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Well, I'm looking at this card, and I'm seeing 4 mana for a 4/4 and a 2/2. That can also get you lands. I'm going to give this card a 4. That seems like a lot of power for not that much mana. Earth Kingdom General. 3 and a green for a 2/2. When this creature enters, Earthbend 2. Whenever you put 1 or more +1/+1 counters on a creature, you may gain that much life. Do this only once each turn. Okay, so it's like kind of 4 mana 2/2, 4 mana for 2 2/2s, gain 2 life. At base. I think that's pretty good already. I don't think it's like amazing, but I think it's decent. The life gain is like not the best benefit you could have for putting +1/+1 counters on things. So I think I'd give this card a 2.5. Earth Rumble. 3 and a green, Earthbend 2. When you do, up to 1 target creature you control fights target creature an opponent controls.
It doesn't have to be that creature.
Correct. So, I think it is just like a good fight spell. You do need to have some big things to fight your opponent's things, because it's a fight, not a bite. But the fact that you also get a 2/2 out of it is pretty strong, so I'm gonna give this a 3. Earthbender Ascension. 2 and a green, enchantment. When this enchantment enters, Earthbend 2. Then search your library for a basic land card. Put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Okay, that already seems really good. And then Landfall. Whenever land you control enters, put a quest counter on this enchantment. When you do, if it has 4 more quest counters on it, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. It gains trample until end of turn. This card seems amazing. It's a 3-mana 2/2. I want to end and also like ramp a land, and then after playing 4 lands, after playing 3 lands, then each land after that will put a counter on a thing and give it trample until end of turn. I think this card's a 4. Earthbending Lesson. It's a lesson, 4 mana, Earthbend 4. Now, I think it's a bit better than a 4 mana 4/4 because it can come back as a land. There's things that care about counters. Normally a 4 mana 4/4 would be like a 1.5 to a 2.
Well, there is one thing, Ray, in which it's worth. It does use up a card on your battlefield, right? So
That's true.
It's not like you get an extra piece of cardboard with it. And I do think that's a, notable downside.
I think the upside is still greater, so I don't think it's like that much better, so I think it is like a 2.5. Earthen Ally. It's a 1 mana 0/2. This creature gets +1/+0 for each color among allies you control. And spend Wooburgen 2 to Earthbend 5. I don't think this card's very good in limited. I mean, it is always a 1 mana 1/2. I think the amount of times that you're going to be able to pay that Wooburg cost in limited is very low. And it's not like, oh, you get Wooburg, you win the game. No, you get Wooburg, you make a 5/5, it's good. But like the 5/5 can die and other things can happen. So I'm not a big fan of this card. I'd probably give it a 1.5. Elemental Teachings. 4 and a green. It's a lesson. Search your library for up to 4 land cards with different names and reveal them. An opponent chooses 2 of those cards. Put the chosen cards into your graveyard and the rest onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. So unfortunately, like in limited, having 4 lands with different names is hard. Like, a lot of decks will be 2 colors, sometimes they'll be 3 colors. But then if you don't have any non-basics, then like this isn't going to do anything. Or if you draw like your non-basic, then it's not going to do very much. So I think in limited, this won't work. And I think I think this is just a 1. Flopsy, Boomy's Buddy. It's an ape goat. 6 mana 4/4. When Flopsy enters, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. So it's a 6 mana 5/5 at best, or at worst. And then each creature you control with power 4 or greater can't be blocked by more than 1 creature. So, anti-menace. This card seems great. It's a 6 mana 5/5 with anti-menace that will likely give at least 1 more power, if not more. So I think this card's a 3. 6 mana is still expensive, but like for 6 mana, it's a really good card. Foggy Swamp Vinebender. 3 and a green for a 4/3. This creature can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. And then Waterbend 5. Put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Activate only during your turn. I like this. It has really good late game value. It will just be like a 4 mana 4/3 that can't be chump blocked is already good, and then especially as it grows later in the game. So I'd probably give this card a 3. I think it's good early, good late, and that's what you want for limited cards. Great Divide Guide. 2 mana 2/3. Each land and ally you control has tap. Add 1 mana of any color. This card's really good. It's a 2 mana 2/3 and it taps for a mana of any color. Itself does, because it's an ally. And then your other allies and lands can tap for more mana and fix your mana. I think this card's a 3.5. It's a really strong mana dork. Haru, Hidden Talent. 1 and a green for a 1/1. Whenever another ally you control enters, Earthbend 1. So you need enough allies to make this card work. Because otherwise a 2-mana 1/1 is not very exciting. Like you probably want like 6 other allies in this deck in order to want to like play Haru, and even then it's like kind of mediocre. So I'd probably give it a 2. Invasion Tactics. 4 and a green. When this enchantment enters, creatures you control get +2/+2 until end of turn. Whenever one or more allies you control deal combat damage to a player, draw a card. So it's a nice little like pump effect to like push through some damage and draw some cards, hopefully. A 5-mana enchantment is kind of expensive and you need creatures to make it work. So I'd probably make it give it like a 2.5 just because you need other things to make it work. Kyoshi Island Plaza. 3 and a green. It's a shrine. When Kyoshi Island Plaza enters, search your library for up to X basic land cards, where X is the number of shrines you control. Put those cards onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Whenever another shrine you control enters, search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. This card doesn't seem great to me. You need to have this one doesn't scale as well with more shrines either, because like you don't necessarily want to just keep on getting lands. And 4 mana to search for a basic land is kind of a lot. So I'd probably give this card a 2. Like it can work if you do have other shrines, and it's not like terrible, but it still needs a lot to make work. Leaves from the Vine. 1 and a green, it's a saga. Chapter 1, mill 3 cards, then create a food token. Chapter 2, put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures you control. Chapter 3, draw a card if there's a creature or lesson card in your graveyard. Draw a card if there's a creature or lesson card in your graveyard. Likelihood is you will likely have a creature or lesson card in your graveyard, so Chapter 3 will generally be draw a card. And like, there's things that care about +1/+1 counters. So I think this card's like pretty good. I'd probably give it a 2.5. Yeah. The Legend of Kyoshi. 4 green. Draw. It's a saga as well. Chapter 1. Draw cards equal to the greatest power among creatures you control. Chapter 2. Earthbend X, where X is the number of cards in your hand. That land becomes an island in addition to its other types. No thank you. Next card. No, I'll keep going. But I hate that it makes something an island. It's terrible. And then Chapter 3, exile the saga, then return it to the battlefield transformed under your control. So if we see the transformed side, Avatar Kyoshi. Lands you control have trample and hexproof. And then tap at X mana of any one color, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. That tap ability is probably not going to be super useful. The saga is already 6 mana. If you need more mana than that, then you're doing something real scary. I think I like this card drawing just a ton of cards. Like, you'll probably draw at least 2 cards off this card at worst. So, I think this card is really strong. I'm going to give it a 4.5. Origin of Metal Bending. 1 and a green, it's a lesson. Choose 1. Destroy target artifact or enchantment, or put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. It gains indestructible until end of turn. So it can save a creature or blow up an artifact or enchantment. I think this is like actually like pretty decent. Like there's not a ton of artifacts and enchantments in this set, but there is like a decent number. And also having the other motive being able to save a creature. So I'd probably give this card a 2.5. Ostrich Horse. 2 and a green for a 3/1. It's a bird
Love
horse.
the creature types.
Yeah. When this creature enters, mill 3 cards. You may put a land card from among them into your hand. If you don't, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. This card is very similar to the card Anak Wayfarer from Tarkir Dragonstorm. However, Anak Wayfarer was only 2 mana, but it was also only a 1/1. I think being only 2 mana is a big difference when you're trying to find land. Because usually you're gonna have more 3-drops than 2-drops. So once you have your third land, you don't need to find a land nearly as badly. I still think this card's pretty good, and I'm gonna rate it a 2.5. Pillar Launch. A green instant. Target creature gets +2/+2 and gains reach until end of turn. Untap it. I mean, it's a combat trick. It can be nice if like they attack with a flyer and they attack and your creatures are tapped, and then you can untap and ambush something. And being on only 1 mana for a combat trick is pretty strong. So that said, like combat tricks in general are like amazing. So I'll probably give this a 2.5. Raucous Audience. 2 mana, 2/1. Tap, add a green. If you control a creature with power 4 or greater, add 2 green instead. I like this card. This card seems pretty good. Like it makes mana, and then when you play like a big thing, it makes more mana to play more big things. I'd probably give this card a 3. Rebellious Captives. 2 mana, 2/2. Exhaust for 6 colorless. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on this creature, then Earthbend 2. It does have a nice late-game thing. Unfortunately, being exhaust does mean that it will only be able to happen once. So I still don't think it's like that amazing. So I'll give this card a 2. Rocket Launch. 2 and a green. So it's a lesson. Earthbend X.
It's Rocket Launch.
Rocket Launch.
Like avalanche. Rocket Launch.
I guess so.
Or is it Rocket Launch?
It's
That would be something totally different.
Yeah. No, it's Rocket Launch, probably. Earthbend X, where X is the number of forests you control, and then flashback for 6. This card seems pretty good. You do need to have enough forests to make it. Like, to make the land bigger and bigger. I'd probably give this card like a 2. I think being a lesson does give it some merit, and if you care about lessons, then I would absolutely play this card. Rocky Rebuke. 2 mana instant. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature an opponent controls. Nice, efficient removal, 3.5. Saber-Tooth Moose Lion. A lot of words. 4 green for 7/7 with reach, and forest cycling for 2. I like this card a lot. It's just a big dude, but can also help you find forests if you need lands early in the game. I'd probably give this card a 3. Seismic Sense. It's a green. Lesson. Look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of lands you control. You may reveal a creature or land card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So this card's interesting because it's not necessarily a card you want to play on turn 1. Just because then you're only looking at 1 card, and it's like, if it's a creature or land, great. If it's not, yeah, it's a bust. That said, it can help you find it if you really are stuck on lands. But I think this card's just like fine. I'd probably give it a 2. Shared Roots. 2 mana sorcery. Search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Great. It's rampant growth, but it's a lesson. I'll probably give it a 3. Sparring Dummy. 1 and a green for a 1/3 defender. Tap to mill a card. You may put a land card milled this way into your hand. You gain 2 life if a lesson card is milled this way. Oh, I like this. It's a nice blocker, and then you can also, like, end of turn, you can mill stuff, and then if it's lands, you get to put in your hand, and you get to gain life if it's a lesson. This card's, like, pretty decent. I'd probably give it a 2.5. Toph, the Blind Bandit. 2 and a green for a star 3. When Toph enters, Earthbend 2. Toph's power is equal to the number of +1/+1 counters on lands you control. So it's a 3 mana 2/3. But it can get bigger. It can also get smaller. But it's a 3 mana 2/3 that also makes it 2/2. So yeah, I think this card's pretty good. I'd give it a 3.5. True Ancestry. 1 and a green. Lesson. Return up to 1 target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. Create a clue token. This card's, like, nice. It's not amazing, but it's fine. I'd probably give it a 2. Turtle Duck. 1 mana 0/4. And then you can spend 3 generic mana until end of turn. This creature has base power 4 and gains trample. I think if this was a 1, if this was a 1/4, it'd be a lot better because at least, like, you can attack with it, and if they block, you can make it bigger, but, like, the threat of activation is not necessarily there as much. I'd probably give it, like, a 1.5.
Although I give the name a much higher rating, because Turtle Duck. What's cooler than that?
Okay. Saber-tooth moose lion.
Okay, that's cooler than that. But Turtle Duck.
It's nice.
Yes.
Unlucky Cabbage Merchant.
Oh boy.
My cabbages! 1 and a green for a 2/2. When this creature enters, make a food. Whenever you sacrifice a food, you may search your library for a basic land card and put it onto the battlefield tapped. If you search your library this way, put this creature on the bottom of its owner's library, then shuffle. Huh. Interesting. I think it's like a 2.5. It is nice. It's like 2 mana on one turn for a 2/2, and then 2 mana on another turn to gain 3 and search for a land. It's like a little bit slow. But, like, you can ensure you just never deck yourself. Oh no, yeah, because I think you can search an empty library, but don't know on that one fully.
What did you say on that one, Dana?
2.5.
2.5. Okay.
Wall Top Sentries. 2 and a green, 2/3. Reach, Death Touch. When this creature dies, if there's a lesson card in your graveyard, you gain 2 life. This card's fine. 2.5, like a lot of the rest of them. Aang, at the crossroads.
So we're on the multicolored now.
We are.
We've done the mono greens. Now we're on the multicolored that includes green.
Okay. Aang at the crossroads. 2 green, white, blue for 3/3 flying. When Aang enters, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put a creature card with mana value 4 or less from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. When another creature you control leaves the battlefield, transform Aang at the beginning of your next upkeep. And then the transformed side is a 4/4 flying. Land creatures you control have vigilance. At the beginning of combat on your turn, Earthbend 2. Card team's really good. You need to have the mana to cast it, but if you do, it's really good. Because of the casting cost, I'm gonna give it a 3.5. But, like, if you can reliably cast this card's a 4.5. Avatar Aang. Wow, most of these are Aang. Or I guess we're at the beginning of the alphabet, so it's red, green,
and
white.
Aang does start with 2 A's, not 1 but 2. So you know.
Yeah, that's true. It's every color but black, and 4/4 flying, firebending 2. Whenever you waterbend, earthbend, firebend, or airbend, draw a card. Then if you've done all 4 this turn, transform Avatar Aang. That is almost never happening in a game of limited. Aang, Master of Elements. 6/6 flying. Spells you cast cost Wooburg less to cast. This can reduce generic costs. And then at the beginning of each upkeep, you may transform Aang, Master of Elements. If you do, gain 4 life, draw 4 cards, put 4+1/+1 counters on him, and he deals 4 damage to each opponent. Well, if you can flip him, the game's over. I think it's really hard to flip him in limited. That said, and, like, he's just so hard to cast. 4 colors is more than basically all limited decks are ever going to have. So I am just going to give Aang a 1.5. If you were able to draft around this and get the fixing, it can be super strong. But I think the casting cost is too demanding. Bei Thong's Bounty Hunters. 2 black-green for a 4/4. Whenever a non-land creature you control dies, Earthbend X, where X is that creature's power. Huh, that's pretty good. Like, it's a 4 mana 4/4 with like a pretty good upside. I'll probably give that a 3.5. Bitter Work. 1 red-green enchantment. Whenever you attack a player with 1 or more creatures with power 4 or greater, draw a card. Then exhaust 4, Earthbend 4. Activate only during your turn. I mean, this card does need, like... Yeah, this card seems actually really good. I was going to say you need creatures with power 4 or greater, but you can make a creature with power 4 or greater. Like, turn 3, play this. Turn 4, make a 4/4. And then turn 5, attack with that 4/4, and then draw a card. Because, notably, this is whenever you attack. It does say player, but I don't think there's any planeswalkers in this set. And so it doesn't even have to deal damage, which I think is really valuable. So I'm going to give this card a 3.5. Boomy, Unleashed. 3 red-green for a 5/4 trample. When Boomy enters, Earthbend 4. Whenever Boomy deals combat damage to a player, untap all lands you control. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase. Only land creatures can attack during that combat phase. You know, I'm liking all this land creature stuff, and I'm thinking about my good old girl Nissa who shakes the world and how good she would be with this card. Seems really good. Yeah, this card seems really... It's a 5-mana 5/4 trample that also makes a 4/4. This card's, I think, a 4.5. Daily Agents. 3 black-green for a 3/4. When this creature enters, Earthbend 1. Then, Earthbend 1. Whenever this creature attacks, each opponent loses X life, and you gain X life, where X is the number of creatures you control with +1/+1 counters on them. I like this card. It's 5 mana for a 3/4 and 2 1/1s, but then when it attacks, you can drain for probably at least 2 until the creatures die. So... yeah, I like this card. I'm going to give it, like, most of the side posts will probably be a 3.5. Earth Kingdom Soldier. 4 and then a green-white hybrid for a 3/4 vigilance. When this creature enters, put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures you control. So it's a 5 mana, and then it has 5 power, 6 toughness, which is pretty good, and you get to spread out that 5 power, 6 toughness at least a little bit. So I'd probably give this card a 3. Earth King's Lieutenant. Green and a white, 1/1 trample. When this creature enters, put a +1/+1 counter on each other ally creature you control. Whenever another ally you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. This card needs allies to make work. But if you have a lot of allies, this card is really good. I'm going to give it a 2.5, but I think it can get a lot stronger. I think, like, probably 7 allies make this card really good, and I think you can play it at 5 allies. Earth Rumble Wrestlers. 3 and then a green-red hybrid for a 3/4 with reach. This creature gets +1/+0 and has trample as long as you control a land creature or a land entered the battlefield under your control this turn. So it is mostly going to be a 4-mana 4/4 reach trample. I mean, you might not play lands on some of your turns, but I think a good amount of them you will be playing lands.
Well, but the key is on your turn. I think on your opponent's turn, it's harder.
That's
because
true.
You need to have a land creature. So on defense, it's going to be probably
a 3/4.
Relatively often a 3/4 reach.
But at least on defense, the power doesn't matter as much.
True.
So that does help. I'll probably give this card a 3. Earth Village Ruffians. 2 and then a black-green hybrid for a 3/1. When this creature dies, Earthbend 2. This card notably works well in the black-white theme and the black-green theme and the green-red theme. So this card is just, like, really flexible in the deck that it wants to go in. So I'll probably still give it a 3. Normally, I'd probably give, like, a 3-mana 3/1 that dies and makes a 2/2, like, a little bit lower, but I think because it's flexible in the types of cards and that it can work well with, like, a ton of different cards, makes it a little bit higher for me. Guru Patik. 2 and then 2 green-blue hybrids for a 2/4. When Guru Patik enters, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a Lesson, Saga, or Shrine card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Whenever you cast a Lesson, Saga, or Shrine spell, put a +1/+1 counter on another target creature you control. This card needs a lot to make work, I think. I think you need to have a lot of lessons and sagas. I think shrines you're gonna have a lot less of. In order for it to be like somewhat decent. So I'd probably give this card like a 1.5. Hermetic Herbalist. It's a green and blue for 2/3. Tap, add a mana of any color. Tap, add 2 mana in any combination of colors. Spend this mana only to cast lesson spells. This one seems like pretty good. I'd probably give it a 3. Not as good as some of the other signposts, but like, I'd like it better if the mana cost wasn't as harsh, because like, green and blue, like, sure, it fixes you.
I mean, it is a 2 mana 2/3 on base rate.
It is. But it's also somewhat hard to cast.
Fair.
So that's why I'm giving it a 3. Which is still good.
I'd give an extra 1 just because it's Simic, but that's me.
Well, yeah, but I'd give it an extra 1 if it was a Nissa. But
I see. Let's be honest, you'd give it a lot more than an extra 1 if it was a Nissa.
That's true. Iroh, Grand Lotus. 3 green, blue, red for a 5/5. It has Firebending 2. During your turn, each non-lesson instant and sorcery card in your graveyard has flashback. The flashback cost is equal to that card's mana cost. During your turn, each lesson card in your graveyard has flashback for 1. Huh. You need a lot of instants and sorceries to make this card work. I think a 6 mana 5/5 with Firebending 2 on its own isn't amazing. But like, if you have instants and sorceries, it can be really good. I think you just need to have like a lot. So I'd probably give this card a 2.
Particularly instants to make use of the firebending aspects too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Katara, the Fearless. Green, white, blue for 3/3. If a triggered ability of an ally you control triggers, that ability triggers an additional time. You need allies with triggered abilities. Otherwise, this is a hard to cast 3 mana 3/3. Now, that said, hard to cast 3 mana 3/3 isn't terrible, but like, you do want some sort of upside, so I'd probably give this card a 2. The Lion Turtle. Is that almost as good as the Turtle Duck?
It might be better because it's an elder cat turtle.
Oh,
not
so
just
it's
a
just
regular
like you.
cat turtle. Okay, I set myself up for that one.
You set yourself up for that one.
That's fair.
You like it better because it reminds you of you, an elder.
Why did I open my mouth?
I don't know. I ask this question every day.
Mm-hmm.
1 green blue for 3/6 with vigilance and reach. When the lion turtle enters, you gain 3 life. The lion turtle can't attack or block unless there are 3 more lesson cards in your graveyard. Tap, add 1 mana of any color. You do need lesson cards. But like, which is why like normally a 3 mana 3/6 with vigilance and reach, card's broken. But like, at least when you don't have the lessons, it does tap for mana. I mean, mana of any color is like mana at 3 is like not as good, but you can go like 3 into 5 drops. And I think like eventually this card will probably stick around until you get 3 or more lesson cards in your graveyard. I'd probably give this card a 3. Long Fang, Grand Secretariat. 1 and then 2 green-black hybrids for 2/3. Whenever another creature you control or a land you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Huh. I like it. It like makes it a lot harder for your other things to die. I'll give this a 3.5. It really goes with the green-black theme. And it goes with the black-white theme. Platypus Bear. Now,
That's a good one, too. That's a good one.
That is a good one. 1 and then a green-blue hybrid for a 2/3 Defender. When this creature enters, mill 2 cards. As long as there's a lesson card in your graveyard, this creature can attack as though it didn't have Defender.
I like also a lot of these are just like the name of the card. Platypus Bear. Creature. Platypus Bear.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. That's all you need to know.
That's it. This card's pretty good. Like, having 1 lesson card in your graveyard is a lot easier than having, like, a lot of the other cards, say, 3 lesson cards in your graveyard. And being able to, like, mill 2 so that it gets you closer to getting a lesson card in your graveyard, while also still being able to be a blocker. for like a 2-mana 2/3. That's actually easier to cast than if it was like 1 and a green for a 2/3 defender. So it does give a lot of flexibility. So I'm gonna give this card a 3. Suki, Kyoshi Warrior. 2 and then 2 white-green hybrids. Star 4. Suki's power is equal to the number of creatures you control. Whenever Suki attacks, create a 1/1 white ally creature token that's tapped and attacking. It's very similar to the card Adeline, but it's 1 more mana. You can play it with green, and the card itself has to attack. And it doesn't have vigilance. So overall, it's worse. But it's still pretty good. I'd give this card a 3.5. Toph, Hard-Headed Teacher. 2 red-green for 3/4. When Toph enters, you may discard a card. If you do, return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. Whenever you cast a spell, Earthbend 1. If that spell is a lesson, put an additional +1/+1 counter on that land. Okay. I think, like, I don't know. I would like this card better if it says you may discard a card if you do draw a card. But at the same time, like, whenever you cast a spell, that doesn't have to be an instant or sorcery. That's just anything, and you Earthbend 1. So, like, the first part of it is, like, fine, it can be some upside. Like, whenever you cast a spell, being able to make a 1/1 is pretty good. I'll give this card a 4.
So, interestingly enough, when you keep Earthbend, if you Earthbend a land that's already been Earthbent,
yeah,
then you put an additional counter on it.
Yeah.
Right? So you could make, you don't have to just have a bunch of 1/1s.
Yeah.
You can make something bigger, which is interesting. What are you giving it, Dana?
4.
4. Okay.
Toph, the first Metal Bender. 1 red-green-white for 3/3. Non-token artifacts you control are lands in addition to their other types. The beginning of your end step. Earthbend 2. Oh, this card seems really good. If you can cast it, you keep Earthbending 2 at every end step. That is really strong. I'm gonna give this one also a 4. Uncle Iroh. 1 and then 2 green-red hybrids for 4/2 with Firebending 1. Lesson spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. I mean, I think this card's fine. Like, I don't think it's overly amazing, but I think it's decent. I would probably give this card a 2.5. White Lotus Reinforcements. 1 green-white for a 2/3 vigilance. Other allies you control get +1/+1. I mean, you need other allies, but, like, I think just having one other ally in this card is already, like, really good. I'm gonna give this a 3.5. Alright. Well, that is all of the green cards in Avatar: The Last Airbender. Hope this set review gives you a little bit more insight into the green cards of the set, and hopefully me talking through my ratings will help you rate the other cards and other colors when you're playing in sealeds or drafts.
But only because mono green probably isn't realistic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's green plus something, of course, right, Dave?
Yeah, that's why we did multicolored green.
I see.
It's probably green plus white. That's probably the color combo I'm going to want to go the most.
Okay, fair enough.
But thank you, everybody, for watching this video. And hopefully this helps you and you can get some wins at your local pre-release or any other sealed and draft events you do. Thank you so much, everybody. Bye.